Welcome back. I wanted to do something different today. Generally, I make tier lists, which means I put things into the list and I go by like good, bad, meh, blah, whatever. This is going to be a little different. I want to do the seasons, but I want to do the seasons by how good each episode is from first to last. This isn't going to be a tier list. This is literally going to be how good the episodes are, and it'll be from 1 to 26 or 1 to 13 for shorter seasons. So it's not going to be like, oh, these are all good episodes, these are mid episodes, and these are bad episodes. It's going to be this number 1 is going to be the best episode of the season, and number 26 is going to be the worst episode of the entire season. Now, the special thing about this, well, it's not special, but it's what I pride myself on with these videos and with my entire channel, is I haven't considered how or what should be the order of this. I am literally just going to go from 1 to 26, and I am going to put the episode above or below the other episode. And by the end, I should have 1 through 26. So, for example, I'll start with X episode. That will be number 1. Then we'll go with Y episode. Is Y episode better or worse than X episode? If it's better, it'll be number 1, and X episode will be number 2. If it's worse, X episode will stay number 1, and Y episode will be number 2. And I'll just do that all the way through without any other considerations. So basically, I'm going to find out what I think is the best episode of each season as well by doing these. So season 1. One of the best seasons of MLP. One of my favorite seasons of MLP. It holds up incredibly well in spite of what any other YouTubers are saying. This season is incredibly good. There are misses. There are a good bit of misses, but season 1 is really, really, really good. I think it's up there with season 7 as top 3-ish. I always forget the order of seasons. I just know that season 7 had some really good stuff. I know that season 5 introduced Starlight. Season 6 was the one where Starlight and Discord and them did the thing. Anyways, this'll be, I think, fun. Hopefully you enjoy the very lax, non-scripted, because I hate scripting. I think that people who do scripts and try to act like, oh, this is all properly and prim, I don't like that. I just like being me and speaking my mind. So that's what you're going to get here. And we can start, I suppose. So episode 1 is Friendship is Magic Part 1. This one right here. Friendship is Magic Part 1 is really good. It does suffer from being a half of an episode because 2-parters at the beginning and starting with next season, end of each season, are incomplete. They have cliffhangers and stuff. With this starting episode, with Friendship is Magic Part 1, we get the introduction of all of the main 6. We get Twilight and Celestia's relationship. We get Twilight having no friends, even though that gets retconned later. I've spoke on this a bunch of times with Moon Dancer and them, Minuet. We get the appearance of Nightmare Moon. We get some funny jokes, sight gags with Pinkie Pie. The Fluttershy scene where she's like not talking. She's like, I can't hear you. Twilight's like, I can't hear you. Rarity's first wahaha. There's so much to like in this episode. It's one of my favorite episodes of season 1, and since nothing can really go against it because it's the first one, it would go to number 1. Friendship is Magic Part 2. So we get Nightmare Moon. We get all of the trials that the main 6 have to go through. We get Giggle at the Ghosty, which is an incredibly good song. We get the scene where Twilight describes all of them, and she's like, "Where you are, all my friends," and we get the glowy eyes scene. We get the reunion between Celestia and Luna. We get Celestia first being in the show, like actually as her, because we get her technically in the first episode when she's telling the story prior, but we get to physically see her. We get unpowered Luna. There's a lot to like about this episode. Again, it suffers kind of because it's half of an episode, but that doesn't really matter to me. I would definitely say this definitely gets placed above the first episode. I really, really like this episode too. And since it's the conclusion and it's our start for the series, I think it's an improvement over the first. Ticketmaster. I really like Ticketmaster too. I think that the moral is incredible. We get so much in this episode too. We get Pinkie Pie's little song for Twilight when they're throwing her up in the air. We get the gala, the Pinkie Pie gala part song. We get Dash being a douche. Finally, she starts showing her real colors, and she's a douche in this episode. We get funny parts with Fluttershy too, where she's talking with Angel, or like Fluttershy and Angel are fixing up Twilight's house, and Twilight's like, "Don't tell me you're just doing this for the tickets too." And Fluttershy's like, "No, we're not." And Angel crosses his arms and looks at her, and she's like, "Oh yes, we are." That's really funny. I'm not gonna be able to remember all of the parts. I'm just remembering why I like them so much. The moral is really good when Twilight says, "If all my friends can't go, I don't want to go either." I think that the reason that I like this episode more than the first two is because, well, there's not really a moral to the first two episodes. It's just friendship. This one's moral is don't leave your friends out. If you all can't do something, you should sacrifice your enjoyment to also stay with your friends. And I really like that, and I think that's what puts this one above the first two, because it's starting to teach. And I think one of the most important parts of Friendship is Magic and why it's lasting is because of its morals. That's kind of why certain episodes later in the series started falling off, because they started dropping the morals or repeating the morals, and the morals were done better early. This is Applebuck season. Applebuck season is another good one because of its message. Applejack, her episodes are not bad, but they're not the greatest. Applejack is an extremely solid character, and with that solidness comes nothing exceptional and nothing terrible. She kind of rides that middle wave, and I think that's fine. I think that makes her great because she is relatable and normal. She is just a normal Earth pony, and she works hard, and she loves her family, and that's awesome. She's a great character. What makes this episode so great is, again, a lot of the funny stuff we get. We get the part where she's helping Rainbow Dash, and Applejack jumps on the catapult and launches Rainbow Dash clear across Ponyville. We get the part where Applejack is extremely tired, and Pinkie Pie is talking in slow motion. That part is really funny, where she's like chocolate chips. I forgot. I forgot what else she says, but she says multiple things there. We get the part where she is. Is that all we get in this? That might be all we get. The part with Fluttershy where like she's getting all angry at the animals and she causes the rabbit stampede, but that's fine. We get the part where she helps not Twilight. She doesn't help Rarity at all? Does she help Rarity at all in this episode? I don't remember. So it must not have been too great anyways. The moral is really strong. Don't be stubborn. When you need help, your friends are there to help you. Let them. You don't have to do everything yourself. But I would say that this one is probably, even though it's one of my, I believe I gave this a 5. Maybe I gave it a 4. I'd still put it at the bottom, below everything else. Griffin the Brush Off is incredible. It's one of the best episodes in the series. It introduces Gilda. Gilda is a really cool character. She's a douchebag, but she gets her redemption later. We get Pinkie Pie and Rainbow Dash interaction, which is great. I like seeing Dash and Pinkie Pie together. We get harmless pranks that are just for fun and everybody's enjoying them, which is a way better way of doing pranks than 28 pranks later when everybody hates Rainbow Dash for doing them. I really like this episode because, again, morals, but not only morals, but multiple morals. So when Rainbow Dash finds out how Gilda actually is, she's like, hey, you either leave or you change. Those are the only two options. It's not, Rainbow Dash doesn't compromise. She's not like, well, Gilda's my friend too. If you have a toxic friend, cut them off. They're not really your friends. They don't really care about you. And if they do, they'll change and they will stop being toxic. That's a great message to have. The other message is be yourself. Do not let other people's poor actions change who you are. If you're a douchebag already, keep being a douchebag. If you're a nice person already, keep being a nice person. Pinkie Pie, Twilight tells Pinkie Pie, maybe it's you who has to improve their attitude. But Pinkie Pie doesn't have a poor attitude. Pinkie Pie, so we see the party that Pinkie throws for Gilda, and we think, oh, Pinkie Pie set all this stuff up so Gilda would get pissed off. And Gilda thought the same thing. But then we find out that no, she didn't set up any of them. Rainbow Dash set up all that stuff. Pinkie Pie literally was just being nice to Gilda. Pinkie Pie doesn't have it in her to be a douchebag. She's just trying to be nice. And in the end, if you stay true to who you are, the truth will come out. Bad people will be revealed to be bad people. And they will be either ostracized or the people who are also bad will go with them, and then you separate from them. That is an incredibly good message. And this early in the series, I was like already of the opinion, I was saying, oh man, this show is going to be special because it's teaching really, really, really important messages that people, even older people, even people 15 to 20 or 20 to 25 do not understand. Stuff like staying with toxic friends, staying in toxic friendships, staying true to yourself and not adapting to other people just so you'll fit in, stuff like that. And this episode says, don't stay with toxic friends. Don't change who you are just to try to oust somebody. That makes this episode one of the best, in my opinion. I would put it at the top over everything else. Ghostbusters. So Ghostbusters is one of my favorite episodes again because we get Trixie, and Trixie is amazing. Who doesn't like Trixie? Lots of people don't like Trixie. I used to hate Trixie, but I used to hate Starlight too. So I used to hate everyone that I used to hate in this series, in this IP. I now love. I used to hate Luna and Celestia. No, I never hated Luna. That's the only one, I guess. I never, ever hated Luna. Since the first time I saw Luna, I loved Luna. But Celestia, I used to hate. I love her now. Starlight, I used to hate. I love her now. Trixie, I used to hate. I love her now. So, yeah, it's... I understand the Trixie hate. If you hate Trixie, more power to you. She can be a douche. I just think she's the more fun... villainous version of Rainbow Dash, and she's kind of an airhead sometimes, but she's so fun. So we get Trixie from this episode. We get Twilight being a powerhouse, which is always nice. Twilight should be a powerhouse. She should be incredibly strong. She's the protagonist. She was chosen to be the next leader of Equestria for a reason. We get a good moral. There is a difference between showing off and being talented. Anyone who is talented can show off, but they don't have to. And people who even aren't even talented can be boastful. Trixie's not talented. She's just not as great as she thinks. But this is a pretty good message. We get a new incredible character in Trixie, but we also get Snips and Snails. And Snips and Snails suck. They are garbage. Their characters are garbage. I wish the show didn't have them in. I wish they weren't in the show. Snips and Snails show that Faust is not infallible, that she can write really bad characters that shouldn't be in the show. Yeah, so it's kind of a double-edged sword. I still consider this episode like really amazing, but Snips and Snails brings it down. They are crap. So with Ghostbusters, I'd probably put it around right here, right below Friendship is Magic Part 2 and right above Friendship is Magic Part 1. And that would push Applebuck Season down to 6. Dragonshy. Dragonshy is another great episode. So this season starts off incredibly strong. I think there's like a 4, like 1-4. I think I gave Applebuck Season like a 4. But like the first seven episodes, 5, 6, 7, like 8 episodes are 4s or 5s. Dragonshy is another one that's like a 4 or 5. I think I gave it a 5. It's not necessarily development for Fluttershy, but it's understanding. She's scared. She doesn't want to go. They make her go, but she still ends up clutching in the end. That's good for her character, but she doesn't immediately become brave at the end of this episode, which is good again. I like the message, have faith in your friends, because they will come through for you if they're truly your friends, and you will come through for them. Sometimes you'll fail. Sometimes we all fail, but when worst comes to worst, they'll do their best to try and help you. And that's what Fluttershy ends up doing. She ends up saving them. We get so many funny parts in this episode. I think that the tone does a good shift, because the entire time they're climbing the mountain, Rainbow Dash is a douche to Fluttershy. She's just like a jerk. And it's like, yeah, you're a jerk. And then at the end, like when they get to the dragon's place, it's all comedy. Like, Rarity does her thing. She gets kicked out because she's trying to get the jewels. And then she's like, I was so close to getting those jewels. And Twilight's like, you mean getting him to leave, right? And she's like, oh, yeah, I guess. And then, like, we get the part where Pinkie Pie goes in and she gets wrecked. And then Rainbow Dash goes in. We have the part where Rainbow Dash says the thing where she's like, we've tried, what is it called? Charm. We've tried reasoning. We've tried whatever it is Pinkie Pie does. Like, that part is really funny. Dash gets blown out of the thing and they do the pinball thing, and that's still the funniest. That's like the funniest thing in all of MLP to me. One of the funniest. It's probably the funniest. I still have to consider things like the last roundup where Pinkie Pie gets in front of the conveyor belt and all of the cherries are going in her mouth. That part is really, really funny. So yeah, like this episode has like really, really funny moments. The message is good. It's kind of, I guess, the tone prior is like kind of not distressing, but it's like unhappy, so it kind of brings it down a little bit in the sense of talking about all these perfect episodes, because Rainbow Dash is such a jerk to Fluttershy that like it's like, dude, Dash, like, why are you being such an a-hole? But I really, really do enjoy this episode, and that scene really, really makes me like it a lot. I'd probably put this episode, Dragonshy, at... I'd either put it here or here. I think I'd rather have Trixie than that, so I'd put that there. That would knock this down. Look Before You Sleep. Another one. So, see, this is going to change really quick. I know I'm saying all of these episodes are incredible. It's going to change. These episodes are going to get pretty bad fairly soon. So, Look Before You Sleep is another one of my favorites. I think it's one of the best episodes in the series. It started Rarajack. I think that's the OTP for Applejack and Rarity. Um, there's so many funny moments. You've got the ghost stories part where Rarity does the ooh thing. You've got the I ain't budging from Applejack. You've got the it's a ghost story. It is a ghost story. They're all made up. You've got Twilight being a goofy, fun, like fangirl, like trying her. She has friends and she really wants to do a sleepover. I really, really like this episode. I really like this episode. The message at the end, like with them making up and Applejack kind of being less, like more understanding, and Rarity being more understanding, and them working, like being together to make it funner for Twilight. I think this is a really good episode. I'd put Look Before You Sleep probably like, like right here, right below Friendship is Magic Part 2, and right above Ghostbusters, which would knock that down to here. Yeah, that's a really good episode. Bridal Gossip is a decent episode. It's not incredible. It's not terrible. We do get Zakora, which is awesome. I like Zakora, but she's like not Trixie. Zakora I like, but she won't be she's not a pony. So it's going to be tough for her. We get a lot of funny sight gags and a lot of funny stuff with like Spitty Pie and like Rarity, and we get I think the funniest, obviously we get the Evil Enchantress song, but the Fluttershy version or the Flutter Guy version is like a million times better. It's super funny. Her angry face there where she's just like singing it and you could tell she doesn't want to sing it is really funny. It's a really good message. Don't judge a book by its cover. We got that. It's literally don't judge a book by its cover. Spike is like, maybe the answer's in here. And Twilight's like, no. And then Zakora finds it. And Twilight's like, oh, it is in there. And then she's like, I judged the book by its cover. So, like, and it's also, like, obviously a play on Zakora because they judged Zakora for being a zebra. And then they were like, we were wrong because it's good. It's a great episode. But I would still probably only put it around either here or here. I think I'd put it here. I think that's a decent place for it. Yeah, probably at around 8. Swarm of the Century. Swarm is not great. I don't really care for Swarm. It's Swarm feels like they wanted to do a moral and they didn't have the correct way to do it. So instead they kind of had to make Pinky stupid. She's not stupid, but like this wouldn't have even been an episode if Pinkie Pie just was like, I know how to get rid of the parasprites. We need these instruments, and that'll do it. But they didn't do that. On a positive note, this is the episode, the GIF, I will say it again, where Pinkie Pie is playing the instruments and leading the parasprites away from Ponyville. That is the GIF that got me into MLP. I'd seen it on like 4chan or something a bunch of times, or somewhere. Probably 4chan. And I was like, that animation is really cool. I like that. And then I checked out the series, and then I started loving MLP. But this episode is they solve the problem. They literally solve the entire problem. Dash sends all of the parasprites back into the Everfree, and then Fluttershy kept some, and then it just restarts. And then like Celestia is like oblivious, or maybe she's not, but she probably is because she's always oblivious. And it's not one of my favorites. I don't even remember the moral. The moral is like your friends are weird, but you should trust them. I don't know. It's a very mid episode. I have no problem putting that at the bottom. Winter Wrap Up. Is that what this one is called? Yeah, Winter Wrap Up is superb. It's one of the best episodes in the series. It's one of the best songs in the series. The remixes we got of Winter Wrap-Up were incredible. It's relatable. Twilight is so talented, but she doesn't know what she should do, and she tries to do the things, and she fails at all of them. She tries to help Rarity with the baskets and stuff. Doesn't work out. She tries to help the Earth ponies with like clearing out the snow. Doesn't work out. She tries to help Pinkie Pie doing the lake, the frozen lake. Doesn't work out. And then she's sad. It sucks. It pisses me off because Spike is a super douche in this episode. And he's like, just use your magic. And then, like, Twilight tries to use her magic and fails. And Applejack gets mad at her. And, like, Spike doesn't say anything. He should have been like, dude, I kind of said she should use her magic. Like, that part pisses me off because Spike is kind of a douche. But Spike is always kind of a douche, too. He's, like, snippy and, like, laughs. Like, you see that a lot in Bridal Gossip when they're all cursed and he's laughing at all of them. But the resolution is great. Twilight is again above them. This is the first foreshadowing of Twilight being above everyone else because she doesn't fit in with any of them. She is above them. She is the organizer, and that's what she does. And I think that's great for her character, and I think it comes to fruition later when she becomes a princess. And people who say that they're equivalent to each other, they're not. Twilight is superior to her friends. That is why she becomes a princess. That's why she becomes the ruler of Equestria. Blah, 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 blah. But yeah, this is like up there. I'd give Winter Wrap-Up probably around... I'd probably put Winter Wrap-Up like right here at number 5. Which would knock these down this way. Yeah. That is a really, really good episode. Call of the Cutie. 1 second. Can I take a drink? So this episode is pretty bad. A lot of the CMC episodes are bad. Not bad. They're not bad. Everyone can like the CMC episodes as much as they want, but they roughly equate to we want our cutie marks. That's it. That's the entire episode. We'll do X for our cutie marks. We want our cutie marks. And that becomes one note really quick because it's like, here's an episode with them. They want their cutie marks. Here's an episode with them. They want their cutie marks. Here's an episode with them. They want their cutie marks. And that gets repetitive really, really fast. This one is pre Sweetie Belle and Scootaloo, which is weird because in the first episode, in the first episode, when Nightmare Moon, when Nightmare Moon appears, they're together in that one. So kind of weird that they act like they're, but it's the pilot and blah blah blah. That's fine. This episode is not great to me. Again, I don't really care about the CMC much. I really, really like Apple Bloom with her sister when it doesn't have to do with cutie marks. I like Sweetie Belle with Sweetie Belle's Rarity when it doesn't have to do with cutie marks, and I like Rainbow Dash with Scootaloo when it doesn't have to do with cutie marks. When it's just, we want our cutie marks, and it's about us not being, when it's about them not, it's about them being blank flanks, I don't care as much, so I'd put this one at, like, the bottom. Fall with Her Friends. This episode is crazy vindictive. It makes Rainbow Dash look like more than a douche. She's like a cheater. She's willing to hurt Applejack to win. It's the tortoise and the hare, kind of, because they're fighting against each other so much that they don't even beat Twilight, and Twilight doesn't even beat, like, several people, and they run the thing anyways, and friendship is more important. This is a bad episode. It's fine that they got it over so early, because they were never going to do it again. Ha! As if we're not going to get Applejack and Rainbow Dash competing over stupid crap for the rest of this series, because they can't have development where they grow out of that. Yeah, I really don't care for this episode. I think it's pretty bad. I can't remember any redeeming stuff. Twilight is in it. They're mean to Twilight. Twilight wins the race. Celestia is there for a couple of seconds. Celestia says something stupid. I remember that. When she should have been like, I saw you cheating, Rainbow Dash. I saw you literally strike Applejack in the face with the branch of the tree. Like, it's just a really bad episode. I'd say this one is probably lower than the Call of the Cutie one. Suited for Success. Suited for Success is super, super good. I think Suited... So, when I first started watching MLP, I said it was because of Pinkie Pie and that gif. And then in the first episode, I fell in love with Fluttershy because she did the little quiet thing. And then I liked Fluttershy more because of Dragonshy. But then, Look Before You Sleep happened, and I was like, oh, I really like Rarity, too. And then Suited for Success happened, and I was like, oh my gosh, I really like Rarity. And for the longest time before I came back to the fandom, well, before, I liked Rarity, like, at the end of Season 1. She was my favorite because of everything that happened in Season 1. And then Luna came out, and I loved Luna too, but then I realized they were both Tabitha, and I was like, oh, I just loved them. And Rarity and Luna were like my favorites by far. And then when I came back into the fandom and I started watching everything years later, and I fell in love with Starlight and blah 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 blah. But Suited is really, 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 really good. Art of the Dress is probably not probably. Art of the Dress is my favorite song from Season 1. I think I could say that with confidence. Art of the Dress is by far my favorite song from Season 1. This episode, no other episode, I think, illustrates any of the element as well as this one does. The generosity that Rarity shows in this episode it made me go, oh yeah, it's completely understandable that she has generosity. Just how kind she is to her friends, how she did exactly what they wanted in spite of the fact that obviously they were wrong and she was right, how her friends realized they were... It's an incredible episode. I think that Suited, honestly, is probably, out of these, probably number one out of what we have here. I love Suited for Success. It has a song which Griffin does not have. Yeah, that's an incredibly, incredibly good episode. Feeling Pinkie Keen. So this episode caused a lot of drama to begin with because, if I remember correctly, science versus, like, religion, I don't know, don't really care. I think Feeling Pinkie Keen has one of the best messages in all of MLP. I think it is 100% correct. I don't think it should have gotten flack. Sometimes you do just have to believe in things. That's what Twilight says. And even without evidence, sometimes you should believe in things. Do you have to do that? No. Can you be like, I disagree with that? Of course. If you are the type of person that has to have evidence, that's completely fine. You be that person and you be, you do you, boo-boo. If you're not, and you believe in stuff, and you believe in things that you don't have proof for, that's great. You be who you are. You don't have to prove everything when it comes to everything because you believe in it. And I think Feeling Pinkie Keen did a great job of illustrating that. Another moral / message that everyone should understand. We're all different. Some of us believe some things, some of us don't believe things. That doesn't mean you should dump on other people for believing or not believing or whatever, blah, 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 blah. I think it's a great episode. I don't like the comical destruction of Twilight with getting hurt so much. It's very reminiscent of, like, Bugs Bunny, old style cartoons, and that's fine, but it's like, I don't like seeing the girls hurt. It's not my cup of tea. I'd say this one is around here-ish. Okay. This is what? Sonic Rainbow? Yeah, Sonic Rainboom. Sonic Rainboom is fine. It's a Rainbow Dash episode with Rarity kind of mixed in there. We get some great moments like Louder with Fluttershy cheering. Then at the end where Fluttershy goes crazy and she's screaming. We get really funny moments where like Rarity's wings burn out and the Wonderbolts go to try to catch her and Celestia's just like, I'm not doing nothing. And then the Wonderbolts get knocked out and Celestia's just like, I'm not doing nothing. Like, Celestia, you have TK. Use your telekinesis. Like, you could catch them, no problem. She just does nothing. We have Rainbow Dash's actual attitude, which makes sense. She's deathly afraid sometimes and very insecure, but she comes through in the clutch. That's great. She has her weaknesses. Yeah, I think this is a fine episode. It's nothing like incredible. It doesn't break the top 10. I'd put Rainboom at around right here probably. I think it's a solid episode with some fun parts. I don't really think there's a message. They try to do something with Rarity being like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have stole the spotlight or whatever, but it's not really anything. Stairmaster. Stairmaster. So this one is first episode where we really get, we want cutie marks, this, that. I don't care about that. It's Stairmaster because Fluttershy, but like we still get so much cutie mark crusading, and I just don't care. We get some great moments in there though. We get like the hammer, 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 and then like we get the part where they see what they built, and like I forgot who says what, but I think Scootaloo is like, we were building a chair, or we were building a table or something, and that part is really funny. It really makes Twilight look like an idiot because she gets turned to stone by a cockatrice, and it's like, Twilight, you freaking have magic, and it takes time to turn into stone. Like, Fluttershy is staring at the cockatrice as she's turning to stone. If you're turning to stone, use a teleportation spell. It makes Twilight look really dumb, but like, the episode is fine. It shows Fluttershy's power to be able to control animals, I guess, with her eyes. But I would say nothing really too special. It's probably around right here, right below Applebuck. I don't know if I'd put this here, because I think the moral for Applebuck is better than the moral. Yeah, I think I'd go like that. Okay. If you note, I'll say it after. This one is the one where I think they're like trying to find Rainbow Dash to. Oh no, it's not. Okay, so this is Showstoppers. We just went from, like, you could say the last episode, Stairmaster was not a Cutie Mark Crusaders episode. It was a Cutie Mark Crusaders episode. This is another Cutie Mark Crusaders episode, and this is another one about them not, like, this is so early in the series. It's episode, like, what, 17, I think? 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18. It's episode 18 of the first season, and we're already getting, like, they have special talents, but they're not applying them correctly. So, like, Scootaloo, or Sweetie Belle is the singer, but she's doing the costumes. Apple Bloom is the, what did they, I think Apple Bloom is the, one of them is the set designer, and then one of them is the, like, choreography. And, like, I think, yeah, so Scootaloo is the set designer, and Apple Bloom is the choreography. And they all should switch. They all need to rotate one. Sweetie Belle should be doing the singing, and not the, regardless, I might have gotten that wrong. Sweetie Belle should be doing the singing. Apple Bloom should be doing the set designing, I believe, and then Scootaloo should be doing the choreography. and we're getting it this early. They already know what their special talents are, or the writers are implying what their special talents are. But like, they don't get their freaking cutie marks for like another 4 or 5 seasons or something. And it's like, all of their episodes where it has to do with them is going to be about them trying to get their cutie marks, and that sucks to me because it's repetitive. It's just the same thing. You may mix up you may mix it up when it comes to like what they're doing, but it's all the same. What are they gonna do? They're like Pinky and the Brain, but Pinky and the Brain were fun because the whole point of them was to be like they're trying to take over the world, and that's funny because they're rats. But like, why is these 3 fillies getting their cutie marks so important to me? I don't think it was important to anybody. I think it was great the way they got them, and I would think it was great when they finally did get them. But all of the episodes that led up to that, they were just repetition. So I'd put this one like down here. Especially with that song. Man, that song is cheeks. That was a really bad song. And I know it's like supposed to be bad because like Scootaloo is singing, but like, yeah, I no. A Dog and Pony Show. A Dog and Pony Show was like a Rarity Spike episode. Mostly Rarity, I'd say. I think like we get some fun stuff. It's really funny when she's when the Diamond Dog is like dig and she starts doing this and she's like she's just like hitting the ground with her hoof. That part is really funny. I love again that she's not the damsel in distress. I love that they frame it. Spike is the hero and knight, and he is going to save the damsel in distress, and Rarity doesn't need the saving. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. My favorite part of Rarity and what made her my favorite character to begin with was the fact that she was a turnaround of that character trope. Rarity is beautiful, and she's dainty, and she's clean, and she's smart. And usually characters like that need saving because they also have that characteristic of being weak. But Rarity's not weak. She has bucked manticores in the face, and she's a fighter. She's scrappy. She's awesome. I love that this episode reinforced that and showed that she can use her brains. She has brawn. She is not weak, but she also has brains, and she can use her wits and her charm to charm creatures that are dumber than her to have things go her way. And I really, really like that about this episode because whereas a lot of these episodes are morals, this episode was super hard character development for Rarity to make her look even better, and I think they did a great job with it. I would put A Dog and Pony Show probably like, I think I'd put it probably like right here in top 10, which would move this down and this down. And green is not your color, I believe. Green isn't your color. So this episode is fine. I have no problem with it. We get another Rarity episode, like right back to back. It's a Rarity Fluttershy episode. I think it's kind of weird because we get so we get the part where like Twilight knows, and Twilight wants to tell, and Pinky's looking at her like, don't tell, and it's like, just tell them. They both have said what they thought, and they're keeping it from each other, and nothing is going to change. Like, it's not going to be bad if you say, oh, you guys, because they both get what they want. Like, this whole promise somebody something, and even if it's for their benefit, don't say anything. Don't like hold that in. No. Spoilers for Expedition 33. Spoilers for Expedition 33. It just came out, but I'm going to talk about it. I'm not that far in, but I want to say something because it was a really profound moment. There's a part where the main character, Gustav, and his sister slash the one who he's a guardian of, they make a promise that if the big bad comes, the big bad boss guy comes, that they'll both run. And what happens is the big bad boss guy does come, and Gustav has the chance to run, but he says no, he's not going to run because he wants to protect her. He wants to protect Maëlle. And I thought, is that wrong because he promised her he would run, but he didn't? And the thing is, no. If you promise someone something and breaking that promise would be for their benefit or because it's more important, break the promise. Promises are made because they're supposed to be helpful and they're supposed to be building and they're supposed to be beneficial, a positive. But if breaking that promise would help more than keeping that promise, break your promise. It's not some weird binding contract where like you're like, no matter what, I should keep this promise. And they really should have reinforced that in this episode, but they didn't. And like, I do really, really like the commentary on the fashion industry. I said it about it in my short. The fashion industry being fickle and awful, and nobody should like buy into these trends because they're all just silly. It's a good episode. I like it. I don't think it's like top 10 best, but I would say it's probably around here. I'd say about there's right. Over a Barrel. This episode is pretty bad. Yeah, Over a Barrel is pretty bad. I would say probably awful. My issue with Over a Barrel is this. So like the message is you gotta share, you gotta care. Pinkie Pie gets the song. It makes sense. But here's the thing. They're trying to parody like cowboys and Indians, right? Back in the old days and like what happened with them and like when Indians would have scuffles with cowboys. Thing is, there was a lot of death that happened in there, and you couldn't just compromise in those situations. And when you're trying to parody that or even like use it as like a base, what happens is like you get the scene where they're throwing pies at each other, and it's like I don't really understand. I made the video about tone and about Pinkie Pie, and like what are they going for here? Because like ha ha ha, it's just pie, they're fine. But like when you think about a situation like this really happening in real life with a town that doesn't want to move and like cattlers or Indians or whatever trying to get through, there'd be a lot of death. Those wouldn't be pies, those would be guns or bows, and they'd be killing each other and they would die, and there'd be no like easy resolution. So like I don't really think this episode works on any level. It doesn't work on a moral level because they would have died. That if they really fought, they would have died. And it doesn't work on like again, Applejack and Rainbow Dash on opposite sides of the spectrum, and they just got to be enemies with each other because I guess Applejack and Rainbow Dash are going to be enemies with each other. The buffalo or the bison, they don't matter. We don't get little Strongheart or little Hoof, whatever her name is. We don't get her again. Their designs are meh. We get like Brayburn. A lot of people like Brayburn, but I never really dug Brayburn. He's just kind of there. Yeah, I'd say this episode is pretty bad. Probably like around here. This is, yeah, because Showstoppers, ugh. This is the Celestia's, yeah, A Bird in the Hoof. A Bird in the Hoof. I don't like this episode for personal reasons. It really feels like they made Celestia they tried to make Celestia look heartless, like she wasn't caring for Philomena at all, and she was just like, oh yeah, she doesn't. And it like they contrasted Fluttershy's caring attitude with Philomena with like Celestia's indifferent one, and I don't like that. I don't like when they try to make the sisters look like bad. Maybe they weren't trying to do that because, but it also reinforces the fact that Celestia knows. There was no reason for Fluttershy to do any of that because Celestia knew that Philomena was gonna reincarnate. We get the like Benny Hill chase. The second Benny Hill chase we've gotten in this one, we got one, and in Friendship is Magic Part 1 we got one. We get the really funny part with Dash being like, "Are you guys racing 1, 2, 3, go?" I really like that part. We get Twilight's like craziness where she's terrified of Celestia and getting sent to the moon, and if anything messes up, then she feels like, oh man, like this is bad. But I don't really care for this episode. I don't think it's great. I don't really even think it has a message. It's just kind of a mid-episode. Philomena, like, I don't think Philomena comes back. I know Spike gets his little dragon, Buddy or Pee-wee or something, but, like, I don't think Philomena really does anything ever again. Yeah, this episode's not great. I probably put it, like, right here. See, I told you, like, a lot of these later episodes, they just start to get, like, not great. Like, here, like, these are all, later episodes. Like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's, like, 6 in the bottom, like, bottom part. This is the Cutie Mark, whatever, the one where they are getting stories told. Another CMC episode about cutie marks. We get the origin stories for the cutie marks of the main 6. I don't like the idea that Rainbow Dash is the cause of them all getting their cutie marks. I think that's dumb. Why Rainbow Dash? I don't. Rainbow Dash is not crucial. She's not crucial to, like, anything in the entire series. Oh, but she is. She did the Sonic Rainboom. Yeah, because the writers just wanted to write it. I mean, Faust probably wanted that, and, like, that's fine. Maybe Faust could have really liked Rainbow Dash, and cool, that's fine. But I don't know why you'd, like Rainbow Dash that much, and then, like, be like she's an a-hole. Like, she's an a-hole in this episode with Applejack, and she's physically assaulting her. She's an a-hole in this episode to Fluttershy. We get so many episodes later where she's an a-hole. 28 pranks later. That's fine. You could like Rainbow Dash, but I don't like the idea of this episode. The way they got their cutie marks was fine. We get cute Twilight jumping around saying yes, but, like, yeah, I don't really care for the way they handled it. It's not one of my favorite episodes. I think it could have been told way better. I think they should be individuals. Because here's the thing. Yes, you are connected to your friends, but you are also individuals. And this is just kind of silly. It's kind of silly. It would have been really cool if we got to explore the opposite. How about, because Rainbow Dash did the Sonic Rainboom, some other people failed? How about that? How about there were some failures that happened, and actually, that's a good idea for a fic. I might want to write that. Anyways, this episode is probably around right here-ish. Yeah, about there. All's well that ends well. Spike episode. I don't really have to say any more than that. Spike episodes aren't great. I don't really care for them. Spike is Spike. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If I want to see a show about dragons, I wouldn't be watching a show called My Little Pony. Aloysius is fine. Twilight gets a new pet. It's really, like, weirdly gory. Because, like, Spike gets the, like, toy rat or whatever and puts, like, ketchup on it. And it's like, that's blood. Like, we're just... It's the thing where it's like, you guys are really trying to say this is for kids? Okay. We get really stupid jokes here. Like, the who. He's an owl. He says who. And Spike keeps being like, blah, blah, blah. This is, like, a not great episode. I put All's Well, like, right here. Yeah, it's not great. Party of One. I think this one is the easy favorite. I don't even care for Pinky that much. My top main 6, like just the main 6, would go Twilight, Rarity, Applejack, Fluttershy, Pinkie Pie, Rainbow Dash. So Pinky is at the bottom of my main 6, and that doesn't change the fact that this is by far the best episode of season 1. I don't think there's any debate for me, like, even thinking about that. Party of One is, like, Pinkie Pie. If we got this Pinkie Pie more often, if we got Pinkie going through very traumatizing stuff, because, like, you could say it's not traumatizing, but she was clearly traumatized by it, and I think that's as far as they were willing to go, which is fine. Again, you guys, girls, say it's kids' cartoons. she was traumatized. She thought her friends didn't like her, and that destroyed her. And this episode is everything. It's fun. We have really fun moments. We have Pinkie Pie being Pinkie Pie. We have Pinkie Pie being sad. We have it's just everything. The characterizations are great. Pinkie Pie being paranoid and thinking her friends don't like her. Her getting mad, realizing my friends do care. Trust your friends. Great moral. If they're your friends, you don't have to worry about them not liking you, because they're clearly your friends and they clearly want to do things for you and be your friend. Pinkamene design is great. The scene, the party of one scene where she's talking to the inanimate objects. Rainbow Dash literally dragging her all the way to Sweet Apple Acres. Funny parts where like Okie Dokie Loki, and then she jump scares Applejack are great. Literally, I think easy top episode of season 1. I don't think that's I don't even think it's possible for. The only thing that could bring it up would have been a song, but the episode is so good and it's so well told, and the tone is so perfect. I think that it's just easy number 1. Best Night Ever. Best Night Ever is fine. It's a climax episode. At the Gala is a really good song. It's hard carried by Rainbow Dash's part. Rainbow Dash's part is the best part of At the Gala. The rest of the song is kind of mid. Moral is, I guess, sometimes life doesn't live up to your expectations, so don't have such high expectations. Sometimes things aren't as great as you think they would be. Yeah, it's a fine episode. It's nothing incredible. If I'm looking at these episodes, I don't think I would even yeah, I'd say it's probably about right around the middle. Maybe right there. Literally the direct middle of the entire season. And that's 26. Let's see. Party of One, number 1, best episode of the entire season. Number 2, best episode is friggin' not Art of the Dress. I keep thinking Filling Pinky Keen. Suited for Success. Griffin the Brush Off, number 3. Ticketmaster, number 4. Friendship is Magic, part 2, number 5. Look Before You Sleep, number 6. Winter Wrap Up, 7. Dog and Pony Show, 8. Ghostbusters, 9. Dragonshy, 10. Friendship is Magic, part 1, 11. Pinky Keen, 12. Best Night Ever, 13. Bridal, 14. Applebuck Season, 15. Green, 17. Sonic Rainboom, 18. Wow. Stairmaster, 19. Swarm, 20. A Bird in the Hoof, 21. No, 20. I probably messed up a number. 21. The Cutie Mark Chronicles, I think. 22 is Cutie something. Again, they're all cutie whatchamacallit. Fall Weather Friends, I think. A Bird. No, that's A Bird in the Hoof. This is Owls Well That Ends Well. Over a Barrel. And then freaking Showstoppers. What's really funny is I did a video a while back with a friend of mine, and their favorite episode of this season was Showstoppers, and I guess it is literally my worst. I don't like that episode. I think it's bad. I think it's bad in every single way. I don't care about the CMC getting their treaty marks. I don't care that they're trying to develop like their, because the thing is like this doesn't really even this gets kind of like left by the wayside. If this would have been like a callback and they would have done something where like, oh, this, but they didn't, because think of Twilight Time, right? So in Twilight Time, Sweetie Belle is doing magic. Scootaloo is, I don't remember what Scootaloo is doing, but Apple Bloom is doing potions, and it's like that's not their special talents at all. Like, are we just gonna like leave behind what was established in this episode in Showstoppers? And they did, like, but then like after. Well, it's just like a nothing. It's like a nothing episode in the grand scheme of things, because it doesn't contribute to their story like at all. Is this the one? Yeah, it is the one. It's the one where they win for best comedy actor or whatever, and then Twilight's like, you learned something, right? And they were like, yeah, we should do comedy, and it's like they learned nothing. There's no development for them. We as the audience understand, oh, they do have special talents and they're these, but they don't learn anything. It's a nothing episode with a nothing song, a song that's meant to be a joke. I will say this, and I'll say it again. I just posted my Good Vibes short. Good Vibes is an amazing song. I would play Good Vibes for anyone, at any time, in a car, and not be embarrassed. There's no embarrassment when it comes to like Good Vibes, or when it comes to like, say something like Welcome to the Show. When it comes to something like the Coloratura song, these are all incredible songs. With the Coloratura song, it is a bit difficult because she says pony, but I still think that song is, I would play that song for, I'd say, listen to this. This song is not something that you would listen to outside of the show with a group of people that aren't pony fans. That's how I judge whether a song is good. How much do I want to listen to it, and how much do I want to show other people and say, look at how good this song is. Never do that. I would never do that with that song. So, nothing song, nothing moral. There's no moral. The CMC don't learn anything. It's another cliched episode where they're just like, cutie marks, cutie marks, cutie marks. Oh, but they're doing a play. Yeah, because they want to get their cutie marks in the thing that they're doing in the play. It's just another nothing episode. It's literally the polar opposite of Party of One. Party of One did everything perfect and right. This episode kind of just feels like one of the comics, which are garbage. It's just nothing. They want to do a show for school and they fail, but they still they stumble into succeeding because, oh, you guys are great at comedy. They weren't doing comedy. Yeah, it makes sense. This is the worst episode of the season to me. So, last, number one, and the best episode of this entire season, I'd give it to Party of One by far. It's amazing. I think that it's fun to watch. I think showing it to strangers that don't even watch MLP is fun. I think it's just a really good episode. So yeah, I'm probably gonna do all 9 seasons. I don't know what I think every season's best episode is. I didn't know this one either. I honestly didn't even think Suited for Success was gonna be this high, but it really is that good. And Rarity is one of my favorite characters. I kind of figured that Party of One would be, so yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed doing this one. Hopefully you all enjoyed listening. If you want, leave your best episode of season 1. Next one of these will probably be like three videos later, in 3 videos or whatever, but it'll be season 2. Thinking of that season, I really couldn't say at all any idea of what I would think the best episode of season 2 would be. But I think it'll be fun to do that one too. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.